Once upon a time in a faraway land, deep within a lush and vibrant forest, there lived a poor woodcutter. He was a solitary soul who spent his days chopping wood and his nights sleeping by the fire in his small hut. His life was simple and lonely until one day when everything changed. While chopping wood, he stumbled upon a clearing unlike any he'd seen before. In the center stood a majestic oak tree that seemed to shimmer with an otherworldly glow. And under its branches lay an enormous silver hammer. It was unlike anything he had ever seen, and it radiated a power that both terrified and intrigued him. The woodcutter hesitated for a moment, torn between his fear and his curiosity. But something compelled him to pick up the hammer. As soon as he did, the forest around him erupted in chaos. Trees swayed violently, animals fled in terror, and the sky itself rumbled with thunder. The woodcutter dropped the hammer in fright, and as it touched the ground, the chaos ceased as quickly as it had begun. He looked around in awe at the devastation he had caused, and his heart pounded in his chest. But then he noticed something strange. The hammer was no longer silver, but had turned to gold. And it was then that the woodcutter realized he possessed something truly extraordinary. A magic hammer that had the power to transform everything it touched. Overwhelmed with excitement, he picked it up again and swung it towards a nearby tree. In an instant, it was gone, replaced by a magnificent palace of shimmering gold. The woodcutter stared in disbelief at what he had done, and a smile slowly spread across his face. He had never dreamed that he could possess such power. He could use it to build a beautiful home. For himself, to become rich and powerful beyond his wildest dreams. The possibilities seemed endless. But then he stopped. He thought of his humble life as a woodcutter and the peace he had found in nature as solitude. Did he really want to use the hammer's power to change everything? Or would it be better to keep it a secret? To preserve the balance of the forest and his own simple life, he struggled with this decision for many days, chopping wood and sleeping by his fire, lost in thought. Finally, he decided to keep the hammer hidden. He built a small shrine in the forest clearing and left the hammer there, knowing that its power should not be used lightly. And so the woodcutter continued his life as before, chopping wood and sleeping by his fire. But now he carried with him the knowledge that he possessed a magic hammer that could change the world, every time he heard the wind rustling through the trees. He thought of the palace he could have built, every time he saw a bird soaring through the sky. He remembered the power he could wield, and every time he looked at his humble hut, he knew that he had chosen wisely in preserving the balance of the forest and his own life. Years passed, and the woodcutter grew old. But he never forgot the magic hammer in the forest clearing. And one day, as he sat by his fire, he heard a knock at his door. He opened it to find a young woman standing there. She was beautiful and graceful, with hair like spun gold and eyes that shone like stars. "Who are you?" asked the woodcutter. "I am the guardian of the forest," she replied. "And I have come to you because it is your duty to wield the magic hammer." The woodcutter was confused. "Me? But why?" "Because you are the only person worthy of it," said the Dryad. "You have shown respect and care for the forest, and you have proven that you will not use the hammer's power for selfish reasons. It is a great responsibility, but I know that you will use it wisely." With that, the Dryad handed the woodcutter the magic hammer and disappeared. He looked at the hammer in his hands and knew that the time had come for him to use its power. First, he used the hammer to repair the old roof of his hut, making it stronger and more beautiful than before. Then he went into the forest and healed the sick trees, making them grow tall and strong once more. He used the hammer to create a spring of sparkling water for the animals to drink from, and he made flowers bloom in every color imaginable. The forest flourished under his touch, and the animals and plants rejoiced. As the years passed, the woodcutter continued to use the magic hammer to help the forest and its inhabitants. He became known throughout the land as the protector of the woods, and people came from far and wide to seek his help. But he never forgot the simple joy of chopping wood and sleeping by his fire. And whenever the hammer's power tempted him to do something for himself, he remembered the balance of nature that he had sworn to protect. One day, as the woodcutter was chopping wood, he heard a familiar knock at his door. He opened it to find the same young woman who had brought him the hammer all those years ago. "Thank you," she said. "You have done a good job protecting the forest and its inhabitants. It is time for me to return the hammer to its rightful place." The woodcutter was sad to part with the hammer, but he knew it was right. He walked with the Dryad into the forest to the clearing where the magic hammer had been hidden all those years ago. Together, they placed it back under the shimmering oak tree, and then the Dryad vanished. The woodcutter stood there for a moment, feeling the magic of the forest all round him. Then he turned and walked away, forever changed by his experience with the magic hammer. He continued to live in his little hut in the forest, but now he was known as the protector of the woods. And people came from far and wide to seek his wisdom and help. He had learned that true power came not from the ability to change everything, but from the strength to preserve the balance of nature and the courage to choose what was right. And so the woodcutter lived out the rest of his days in peace, content with the life he had chosen and the legacy he had created. The end. Hey, everybody, what did you think of today's story? Tell us in the comments below. And don't forget to share it with your friends. Thanks for watching. See you next time.